Totally, man. So let's back it up. Like, how did you first get started in the whole high ticket industry?
I kind of fell my way into it, bro. I was I'll skip all the non-online stuff, but I was in the software world. I was like an account exec, and then got my way into like a small VP role for a small company. And I had a buddy who had an agency. And this is before like having an agency was a real thing. This is more so during the Ty Lopez agency days.
So this is like 2015?
No, this is a little later, probably when were the Ty days?
Dude, I feel like he went viral summer of 2015. I remember seeing his ads here in my garage.
So this is like lagging behind. This is more like 2018-ish. I start to see it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think I got into it I got into it right around COVID. So 2020, right, maybe just before in 2019, I started a sales consulting business.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was my first thing ever in the online world. And it wasn't bad. I think I made like $8-10 grand a month or something like that right away for a couple months. But I met someone who, this is when I started to find, I never watched Ty, never watched Iman, never watched any of like the guys who bring people into the space, just had a friend who was doing it and knew about marketing agencies, ended up having a couple marketing agencies be some of my first clients for a sales consulting thing, and brought someone on who ended up becoming a partner in a marketing agency that I started. That was like my first real business. The sales consulting stuff was almost like me learning what the space even was, if you will. Started SMMA, got that up. We got up to north of $100,000 a month in the first 6 months, and then had a really messy sale on that. It's a fun story on its own.
You sold the company.
Yeah, kind of. It was a messy sale, man. Yeah, selling a business. What's his name? Roland Frazier. That whole Roland Frazier movement. I love the whole finance, seller finance, and all this stuff. But unless you know what you're doing when you sell a business, the Roland Frazier guys will F you. And there's a lot of that kind of went down to myself. I learned a lot about selling a business, and I learned a lot about business in general. Selling a business is almost as complicated as running a business. And so anyway, I had that, and then doing all that stuff and learning. And it's not even the sale of that business. It was just what I've learned at that point. Yeah. Gave me the leverage or the credibility, whatever you want, the authority needed to start working with some higher end guys in the space. Learned a lot about sales at that point. Started working with Caleb on the Brian offer because I had a couple Instagram reels that were like just how to handle random objections, how to do random. I had 3 or 4, and they all popped off really, really well.
How many views?
35 to 50,000 on each of them, which for like, I had like 700 followers on Instagram
back in the day. Yeah.
Anyway, they were very niche videos, right? So Caleb watched all of them and then hit me up, and then this is a month after I actually started working with Iman as Iman's sales manager. And so I started playing with that stuff. And that was my entry, if you will, into the high ticket sales world.
Yeah. So this is crazy, guys. So give you a little background. He was at the time trying to decide between going full-time with Iman Gadzhi.
Yes.
How do you say his last name? Gadzhi. Okay. I always mess this up, dude.
No one ever gets it right.
Yeah. No one ever gets his last name right, but Iman's sales team and then Brian Page's sales team. So you've got these 2 offers that you run it simultaneously where you're running both of them. And when you were looking at the different opportunities, what made you decide to eventually go with Iman? And then I know that you recently ventured off. You're doing your own thing now, which we'll talk about. Yeah. But for 2 years, you're running his team. But when you're at that fork in the road, I think a lot of people watching this might be at a fork in the road. How did you differentiate?
Yeah. First thing, I just want to be clear. It's not like I ventured off. We had an amazing 2 years, and then the company started outgrowing me. And so he asked me to leave. It's like a brother saying like, hey bro, you're not the best person to lead the business anymore. Okay. Wow. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I'm very upfront about saying that. Okay. Iman, I still have nothing but love in my heart for him. And I think he would say the exact same thing. But a lot of people look at leadership in companies like almost like dating somebody. I don't think it's ever like wrong to say the company outgrew me kind of thing. That's the whole goal of having a business. Yep. But in the crossroads, what it came down to is both offers, if you will, were really, really, really solid. That Brian Page offer was crazy solid.
Dude, that was insane, right? Dude. Yeah.
And that company, what I will give Caleb credit to is it felt like every single day you ran a marathon as fast as you could and you were left with nothing in the tank every single day. Yep. But what I saw was that with Caleb, so the whole thing came down to, I wasn't really picking a company. I picked an entrepreneur that I wanted to tie myself to. And so with Caleb, I think Caleb and I think Iman will both be billionaires one day. Generally. Yeah. I think they're both on the track. And out of all the people I've met in my entire lives, they are 2 that stand among the crowd. But I think they'll get there in different ways. I think Caleb, and neither way is bad, but Caleb will do 100, 1,000, 10,000 things, but one of them will pop and do really, really well. He is an experimenter. He's a tinkerer. Who is it? who starts with Edison, Thomas Edison.
Yeah, Thomas Edison.
Right? He's an Edison. He just wants to play with new things, and eventually one of those will be the light bulb. Iman is the exact opposite. Iman was someone who he'll become a billionaire, but he'll do 5 to 10 things, and every single one of them will be a huge business because he will go deep. He'll spend time on it. He'll go in, making it as amazing as possible, and he'll gnaw on it, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And the reason I went with Iman, twofold. Number one, I just generally felt closer to Iman. I think Caleb's awesome, and when we had dinners and such, I could just feel that I wasn't on the same wavelength. I think Caleb just thinks differently than I am, than I do. There's nothing wrong with that. It's probably why he's more successful. But I didn't sync with him as well as I sunk with Iman. Iman sunk like a brother. Iman's a great guy. I can't say anything negative about Iman. But on top of that, Iman also was a builder, a long-term site guy. And that is what I like doing. I like getting into something and knowing that I can build for a long, long, long time. Not that I'm going to do something a couple weeks and then have that completely gutted to do something else.
Yeah, totally.